Let's go. Show them pics. I just want to thank my McGroin crew. You guys are the best. I love my P1s. Here's some pictures from the event. Some of them I can put up. Some of them but you guys are awesome. There you go. Is that Sean? Fair. That looks like that is Sean, right? My eyesight's not that great. Cutesy time is over. You're damn right. So thank you, McGroin crew. You guys are awesome. We love you guys. Double barrel just for you. I love you guys. Thanks a lot. You guys are hardcore. So, folks, the media reinvention of Kamala Harris is one of the biggest scams ever. And it's summed up by the shortest clip I think I'm ever going to play, but it's worth it. Here is Tampon Tim Walz, right? The vice presidential candidate under Comrade Kamala, right? Here he is saying something so obvious to persons with even a 90-plus IQ that it's stunning the media has been able to pull this bullshit. Check this out.
We can't afford 4 more years of this.
No, we can't. We can't afford 4 more years of this. The 4 more years of what? Does he not realize the administration's called the Biden-Harris administration? Folks, listen. I'm going to level with you, okay? I'm always incredibly honored you guys found this show to be your home. We were #1 again yesterday on live stream by far, 164,000. Number 2 was 88,000. So you guys rock, man. Love you guys. But I'm going to level with you. There is a darn good chance we could still lose this thing. The media is feverishly engaged in a bullshit propaganda campaign on every issue that matters to make sure you don't see the real Biden-Harris administration. Listen to me. Everything the media tells you is bullshit. Everything. I'm going to go through and start with this one here. This is something you need to know because it directly impacts you. Folks, if the issue isn't discussed at a kitchen table somewhere, it's not going to impact the election. I'm sorry. People in Texas probably aren't worried about the Lake Okeechobee water issue in Florida unless they got a house here. If it's not being discussed at a kitchen table, it probably doesn't matter. One issue that's discussed at every kitchen table is crime. Because if you're getting your ass kicked, you're getting mugged, God forbid, raped, assaulted, robbed on a subway, that matters to you, okay? Here is Fusion Kendallanian, one of the most disgraceful figures in media. A guy so embarrassing and humiliating on MSNBC that how this guy still has a job after the endless promotion of the Russia hoax, a debunked fairy tale liberals tell themselves when they get out the lotion and do a little jerk in the basement, okay? This is like a fairy tale. Kendallanian was one of the lead proponents of the PP hoax and all this other stuff. A disgusting human being. Here he is again trying to save Kamala Harris. It's just one example of what I'm talking about. Everything they're telling you right now is bullshit. On crime numbers, everybody knows crime isn't down, but if you listen to Kendallanian, freaking Joe Biden's like the Lone Ranger. Check this out.
And we're also following breaking news this morning. Just moments ago, the FBI released a new report showing the national crime rate decreased in 2023. NBC's Ken Delanian is with us this morning. Ken, good morning. Break down what this report says.
Good morning, Jose. This report is entitled Crime in the Nation. It's the FBI's best estimate of what happened last year in terms of crime, and it shows a significant decrease. Violent crime decreased an estimated 3% last year, according to the FBI. Murder and manslaughter came down an estimated 11.6%. That's the biggest drop in the last 20 years. Aggravated assault down 2.8%. And here's what's also important to know about this, Jose, because there's been a lot of criticism of FBI crime data. This data covered 94% of the U.S. population. And while it's true that not all crimes are reported, all murders are counted.
Okay, folks, this is bullshit. Your boy Dan Bongino is here to give you an election guide. I need you to spread this to your friends, okay? Everyone who lives in a big liberal city knows crime is not down. Where there are videos out there, there are anecdotes, there's data. Now, if you live in a suburban area run by a conservative sheriff like I do, yes, crime is not exploding around here because the sheriff's not going to let it happen. However, if you live in a liberal city run by Biden-Harris type prosecutors, crime is not down. Let me tell you where Fusion Kendallanian, one of the biggest fraudsters and hoaxsters in the media, a clown, Let me tell you why he's telling you this and the little scam he's pulling. And unlike Delanian, we have receipts to back it up. There's a Wall Street Journal opinion piece by Jeffrey Anderson. Contrary to media myth, U.S. urban crime rates are up. So, folks, the FBI statistics are bullshit. Why? Because they don't account for people who don't report crimes. But when you go and ask people in the National Crime Victims Survey, the NCVS, are you a victim of a crime? They note that there is no statistically significant evidence that violent crime or property crime is dropping in America. Let me read that again, D-Bag Ken. There is no statistically significant evidence that violent crime or property crime is dropping in America. Excluding simple assault, the type of violent crime at least likely to be charged as a felony, the violent crime rate in 2023 was 19% higher than in 2019, the last year before the defund the police movement. But crime hasn't risen equally across the nation. The recent crime spike has been concentrated in urban areas. Run by who? Run by who? Yes, that's right, Libby's. Is it bad enough yet, folks? It's the new T-shirt before the election. Is it bad enough in urban areas that some of them start to flip in the direction of Republicans? I guess we'll see in 40 days, won't we? There's another part to this, why these numbers are absolute bullshit. He goes to a number of points. You can read them all. This is the fifth one. I'm just going to give you two, the first one and the fifth one. The Crime Victim Survey captures crimes whether they're reported to police or not. In 2023, the Crime Victim Survey, crime victims conveyed that a majority, 55% of violent victimizations weren't even reported to the police, while 70% of property crime victimizations weren't reported. The FBI publishes data only on crimes reported to the police, which means it doesn't capture most crimes. And the LAPD and a number of other police departments don't even report the numbers to the FBI under the new system. Folks, it's all bullshit. This is all starting to add up. And the good news is the media astroturfing and gaslighting of Kamala Harris is finally starting to come around as people realize and see through the bullshit. I want you to watch this quick. This is CNN. This is Kamala Harris. She now wants another debate. Now, she doesn't want the Fox News debate. She wants the CNN debate. People who win debates, ladies and gentlemen, and want to ride the wave 40 days to the election aren't begging for another debate. And if she was serious, she would have accepted the Fox debate. Why do you think now there are three things happening I want you to pay attention to? She's saying she's about to release an economic plan. Well, that's strange. Her issues page was blank forever. She's now demanding another debate on CNN with friendly debaters. And she's saying she may go to Arizona to visit the border. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, why do you think that's happening? Because she's winning? Bullshit. She is losing, and she knows it. No red wave talk. We could still lose this thing. I'm telling you, it is catching up to her. People who are getting mugged and their stuff's being stolen and their stores being looted. These people don't want to hear bullshit stories from Fusion Ken about how crime is down. Here's Kamala saying how, oh, now it's time. I think I want another debate. She knows she's getting smoked. Check this out.
We have breaking news tonight from Vice President Kamala Harris. Moments ago, when she arrived back at Joint Base Andrews outside of Washington, she issued another call for Donald Trump to debate her in October.
Join me on the debate stage. Let's have another debate. There's more to talk about, and the voters of America deserve to hear the conversations that I think we should be having on substance, on issues, on policies. What's your plan? What's my plan? And we should have another one before Election Day.
Harris also said she would deliver another speech on her economic policy this week.
The podcast is my favorite thing to do. You know that, right? This is like fun time for me during the day. I'm telling you as your friend. Again, don't get cocky here. I'm just saying there are a number of really positive green shoots going on right now. If the polls are accurate, which I strongly doubt, if the polls are accurate right now, Donald Trump is in play and within the margin of error in every swing state. If the polls are off by even half of what they were in 2020 and a quarter of what they were in 2016, Donald Trump wins the swing states in a rout, okay? If. That's a big if. Remember, factor in the cheating and the media bullshit and an inevitable another October surprise. The fact that she's releasing an economic plan, which is probably going to be some communist manifesto, says that she knows she's having real problems breaking through, even though the media is trying to redefine her. People don't understand what she's for. They just understand the suffering they're undergoing now that she's responsible for. And the Arizona border visit she's talking about. What's behind that is very simple. When you ask voters, triage for me what matters to you issues-wise, it's typically 1 and 2, the economy and the border. None of this is by accident. I'm here to sift through the fog like the dreadful Stephen King mist. I'm here to sift through it and tell you what's really going on. She wants to debate because her numbers are collapsing. She's proposing an economic plan because she realizes voters hate the economy now. And she's pretending she wants to go to the border. She may or she may not, because she understands she's the border czar. And now, with new videos emerging that could sink her campaign, she realizes she's in real trouble. Here, Trump's right. Donald Trump put this on True Social. When a prize fighter loses a match, the first words out of their mouth are, "I want a rematch." I told you Donald Trump, at best, was a push in the debate. I thought came out mildly ahead. Everybody laughed. Oh, Dan, you don't know what you're talking about. Now, okay. Now you know. Now do I know what I'm talking about? Trust your boy, Dan. I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'm not here to bullshit you. I don't have any time. This is how bad it is behind the scenes of the Kamala campaign. Folks, I'm not going to lie to you. I had better contacts with people who knew people inside different Democrat administrations. I obviously don't have great contacts inside the Kamala Harris campaign, but I still know some people who understand the swamp really well. The internal polling for the Kamala Harris campaign has got to be dreadful right now. Because if this leaked onto CNN and Jim Acosta, who is up there with Ken Delanian as one of the most hapless buffoons on television, if Jim Acosta and CNN are reporting on the dreadful performance of Kamala Harris with a group she absolutely needs, Hispanic voters in swing states like Nevada and Arizona, if Jim Acosta is reporting on this, can you imagine what the internal numbers are? Where Kamala Harris probably wants a legitimate picture of where she is so they don't weight the polls and push the polls. Her numbers are probably abysmal. Watch the shock on Acosta's face as he realizes she's running 11 points behind with Hispanic voters. She's doing worse than Hillary. Check this out.
Things that we should note, and I don't know if we can show this number. I want to put this up on screen. Latino voters have moved away from Harris in Arizona. If you believe this New York Times poll, her lead has shrunk by 11 points in that voting bloc. She was at 60% in August, now 49% now.
Now, I titled my show today a video that should, go look at the title. Is that the title? Okay, just making sure the title's right. Should, I want to be, that's not what you wrote. Should sink the Kamala Harris campaign. I didn't say would, I said should. Because in any normal election cycle, ladies and gentlemen, where the number one or number two issue, depending on what survey you look at, is, say, X, and you got a candidate on video and say X is a bad thing. It makes sense in a second. And you've got a candidate on video laughing, smiling, and singing about how much she loves X, whatever X may be, that'd be the end. That would be the end. Imagine a candidate, I'm concerned about street crime. And then you got the candidate on video going, up with street crime, down with police. Imagine them singing, dancing. They're thinking it's a freaking party. They're getting out the fireball. They're ready to go. Maybe tequila shots. Who knows? It would be the end. Now, I say a video that should sink the campaign because outside of Fox and Newsmax, I have not seen this video anywhere. I'm not saying it's not out there. I don't watch CNN all day. I'm just saying this would be the end. A candidate for office is supposed to be your best weapon in a campaign. When you go to a fundraiser, I can prove it to you. Do you want to see the surrogates? No, you want to see the candidate. People show up at a Donald Trump fundraiser to meet Donald Trump because they like him. He's got an electric personality. Goes in a supermarket, gives the lady $100 for groceries, looks totally comfortable doing it. Trump is the campaign's best asset? What's the worst asset for the Kamala Harris campaign? Thank you, Justin. Kamala Harris, folks, every time a video comes out, it gets worse. This thing surfaced yesterday. I don't know how this isn't getting more play. The number one or number two issue is the border. Here's Kamala Harris joking, laughing, smoking and joking about it like this is hilarious, dancing like a goofball, smiling with Snoop Doggy Dogg, singing up with education, down with deportation. This is the left summed up in one stupid video that should really be the end of this woman's campaign. Watch this. Folks, any normal campaign cycle, this is the end. This is not a normal campaign cycle. Again, the media is phantom zoning this thing. Remember the Superman 2 where Zod gets sent into the glass and it just floats around the galaxy? That's the story, floating around in the glass. Someone's going to have to break the glass. And this show is going to do it because we've already got, how many people? I'm sorry, I was reading this thing quick during the break here. How much? When we got 145,000 people, probably the largest stream in the world right now. There's a couple of things about that video I want to point out. Number one, notice the joy in this. Down with deportation, which is effectively saying illegals, no, there's no penalty. Come into the country, it's open season. Our country is your country. Don't worry about the legal immigration process. You just give everyone the double-barrel middle finger and walk right in. She's dancing. She thinks it's funny. But one of the other reasons this sums up the left is, folks, I have been studying the left for most of my adult life for the past, say, 20 plus years. This is the left. I said filling in for Mark Levin probably 10 years ago on radio, and it's still stuck. People still email me about it to stay. It's how a lot of people found my podcast. They love the show. I said the left is a bumper sticker party. That's all they are. Tolerance, coexist, up with education, down with deportation. If you ask them even the simplest of questions about their stupid bullshit sloganeering, they immediately collapse. Up with education? For who? For who? The whole world? Anybody comes in. Terrorists? What about criminals? Are we vetting them? We're dumping the legal process? Everyone. So local, where are they going? They going to Martha's Vineyard to get educated? Or is it just you sending them to conservative cities? How's this working? What about down with deportation? What does that mean? Down with deportation. We're not deporting terrorists? What about criminals? Fentanyl traffickers? Child sex traffickers? Anyone? Say you went through the country illegally 5 or 6 times. Still down with deportation? This is Kamala Harris. Her entire campaign is a mother bumper sticker. That is it. That is her entire campaign. Voting for Kamala Harris is voting for a stupid bumper sticker at the expense of your own prosperity. Fact. She is pushing the government. She's pushing government further into your life with no explanation whatsoever about the downsides of this, folks. I got more. I'm going to show you some more coming up next. Some of the stuff she's pushing that's already failed. She wants more of it. We got 40 days to clean this mess up. Hey, everybody's talking about those weight loss injections because the results can be pretty dramatic. They help lower blood sugar and reduce appetite. But what if you need to lose weight, but you don't have the money, you don't like weekly shots? Those shots can get really expensive. Plus, the long-term safety profile, who knows? Brickhouse Nutrition's doctors created a supplement called Lean. I used it. The results are remarkable. The studied ingredients in Lean have been shown to help lower your blood sugar and burn fat by converting it into energy, and they help curb your appetite and cravings. Lean is not for the dieter with only a few pounds to lose. The doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition created Lean for frustrated dieters with 10 pounds or more to lose. So let's get you started with 15% off and free rush shipping so you can add Lean to your wellness and exercise plan. I lost about, 28, 30 pounds on it. Really love the product. Here's the website, takelean.com, L-E-A-N, takelean.com. Enter promo code DAN15 for your discount. That's DAN15. That's promo code DAN15 at takelean.com. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA and not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Not a substitute for or alternative to care from a healthcare provider. Thank you, Lean. Check it out. It's an amazing product. We love it. All right, back to the show. I want to show you right here in this clip. This is important. Why the Kamala Harris campaign is a bumper sticker. It will never be anything more than a bumper sticker, because everything going on behind the bumper sticker that creates the adhesive that sticks it to the actual bumper is gross and poisonous to the skin. And that's why she doesn't want to show you the backside of the bumper sticker. So the Kamala Harris campaign was pushing this broadband initiative where they were going to steal a bunch of your tax dollars to connect a whole bunch of people to the internet. I'm asking you again, is it bad enough yet? I want you to look at this video here from All-in-One Pod, the All-In Pod. These are a bunch of really smart tech guys. They're talking about, again, another bullshit program. They steal a bunch of taxpayer dollars, expand broadband across the country. They spent billions of dollars on a problem the private sector already fixed. This is about a minute from this and did absolutely nothing. She wants more of this. Check this out.
0 people have been connected, according to FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr. And 8 EV chargers have been built as of May, according to Auto Week magazine. What's even crazier, private industry already solved these problems. United Airlines just announced they're putting Starlink on 1,000 of their planes, and they're going to offer it for free. And Starlink now has 2,500 planes under contract with a bunch of other airlines. And in the second half of 2023 alone, the private sector built over 1,000 charging stations in the U.S. These are 2 problems that have already been solved, Sachs. Why are we burning $50 billion in the future with on things that have already been solved? We've solved for this. I own electric cars. I have Starlink.
You know the answer. You know the answer. Say the answer, Jason.
Corruption.
No, come on, Jason.
Incompetence.
Really?
Graft.
Keep going.
I mean, you tell me. Corruption, graft, buying votes from your constituents?
They haven't delivered any of it.
Incompetence, yes.
Folks, I'm going to tell you something. The reason I put this clip in, these guys know their stuff. A lot of these guys are really sophisticated investors. Some of them were, I think, prior liberals who've now kind of come over to the more moderate side. This is an important clip because it describes the entire Kamala Harris bumper sticker regime. On the bumper sticker is this. Tell me if I'm wrong, Justin. They'll say something like this on the bumper sticker. America deserves connection to the internet. America deserves high speed. And everybody's like, yes, yes. And then you go, well, what the hell does the government know about cable? Cable companies can't even figure out how to run the damn broadband sometimes. The answer is they don't know shit because they're Kamala Harris and they're stupid. They don't know anything. The woman would have had a real job. That's why the government spends billions of dollars and can't connect in person to the freaking internet. Because they're stupid. And let me answer the question in a little bit more sophisticated terms than government stupidity. The government has a problem called the third-party payer problem. The government takes money from people and spends it on other people. Milton Friedman described this problem and this dilemma perfectly. The government has absolutely no incentive to control the cost of what they're spending money on because it's not their money. And the government doesn't even care about the quality of the service they're spending other people's money on because they're not even buying anything for themselves half the time. They're connecting other people to the internet. So if it doesn't work, they still don't give a shit. That's why. The third-party payer problem. Those guys get it, but they were saying it in different terms. Corruption, ignorance. Yes, it's because of the third-party payer problem. Folks, and I'm going to ask again, now that I got the shirt going. You like the white, by the way? Is it bad enough yet? Is it bad enough yet in inner cities that Hispanic, black, white voters who live in inner cities, struggling urban areas, are going to start seeing bumper sticker bullshit for what it is? The answer is it may be turning around, folks. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm not saying we're going to win New York, but I'm telling you there's a lot of aggravated people out there. Did you see this video out of Philadelphia? Folks, this is not a scene from Escape from New York with Snake Plissken. This is not a scene from The Purge. This is an actual scene from Philadelphia. Put that up there. This is a scene from Philadelphia. Is that not playing? Yeah. This is a scene from Philadelphia. A police officer rolls up on one of these street riots that's going on, and they decide it's a good idea to jump all over the police police car. This is not a scene from The Purge. And it looks like, if you don't have to be a cinematographer to figure out that someone had a drone going, recording all this. Was this the cops, or was this just some people so confident they were going to double barrel middle finger the cops that they decided to video their own crimes? Is it bad enough yet? Folks, it's certainly getting there. And I think a lot of urban leaders who have been traditionally Democrats are starting to figure out that their constituents are getting really, really pissed off. I'm going to take my last break. I'm going to come back. I got a video from Sharpton. Al Sharpton, who is an absolute clown. I've been around this guy my whole life when I was in New York City. Guy is a goofball. He was on MSNBC the other day, and this is why they're getting worried about things like hand counting ballots in areas with large black populations, because they know black voters are starting to open their eyes in some of these urban areas, a lot of them, and to see the Republican Party differently since Donald Trump took over. So they're really terrified that they're not going to be able to scam there and cheat anymore. So they're worried about hand counting ballots. Everything has a reason. You just got to learn to kind of see through it and sift through the BS. Quick break. I'll play for you that video. I got a lot more, and including some more on the Secret Service scandal, another pretty explosive appearance by Matt Gaetz. Hey, one of the number one questions I get from listeners is, how do I get in the conservative fight and support the parallel economy? Well, it's critical to know where your dollars are going. A lot of these credit card companies are funneling millions to left-wing causes and candidates, hoping you don't notice. But now you have a choice. Coin, C-O-I-G-N. It's America's conservative credit card. Find them at coin.com, C-O-I-G-N. With every transaction, you can help Coin advance conservative causes and charities at no cost to you. Coin empowers us to take back our country with every swipe. It's a great-looking credit card you'll take pride in using. It's bright red with We the People on the front. Coin works everywhere Visa's accepted and comes with a 100% U.S.-based customer service and consumer protections. It's the only card worthy of your wallet. Start earning cash back while fighting the liberal agenda today. Apply now. Coin.com. That's C-O-I-G-N.com. Just do us a favor. Select Dan Bongino in the How'd You Hear About Us box. We really appreciate it. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. Check them out. Our last sponsor today, before I get back to the video, is it's important to get some sleep. Helix. Getting a good night's sleep is really important to your overall wellness. I sleep on a Helix mattress. I got my second one. I've finally replaced the old one. I've had it for a long time in the new house. Absolutely love it. Love my Helix mattress. I'm sleeping and feeling better every day. It's hard to get out in the morning. That's the only problem. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including their award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections. The Helix Plus is a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, and the Helix Kids mattress designed for growing bodies. Take the Helix Sleep Quiz and find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. And your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door, free of charge. Helix offers a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress. Every Helix mattress is a hybrid design, combining individually wrapped steel coils in the base with premium foam layers on top. It's a perfect combination of comfort and support. Even better, the setup's fast and really easy. Helix is offering 25% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. So go to helixsleep.com/Dan. That's Helix. Helixsleep.com/Dan. It's their best offer yet and won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts tonight. Pick one up. Thanks, Helix. Okay, back to the show. Folks, Sharpton's freaking out, and so are all the lefties. That in Georgia, there's going to be a hand counting of ballots now. They don't want that. They want to do anything they can to cheat because they're panicking right now that in large urban areas where the Democrat machine is running, where they're used to cheating, where they probably pull off some degree of cheating in nearly every election cycle, they're really freaked out that there are now backup mechanisms in this election to at least detect some of it. They're not perfect systems, but they're okay. Watch Sharpton and MSNBC. They don't want to hear about this stuff at all. They will do anything to make the hand counting of ballots and any voter integrity measures go away. Check this out.
The State Election Board voted this week to require ballots to be hand counted in November. It's a move that could drastically lengthen the amount of time needed to tally results in the critical battleground state of Georgia. People have been warning of possible trouble from this panel. Is this the opening salvo of mischief from them in this make or break it state?
This is freaking hilarious. So Democrats who have no problem whatsoever with vote counting for 6 months, as long, right, guys? Like in the last election, like the vote counting went on for like, it was like Haley's Comet. Like every 72 years, they got an election result. The Democrats didn't give a shit. As long as the number, right? Am I kidding? As long as they came out on top. Now Al Sharpton's worried that a hand recount to make sure the results are genuine and authentic. Now Sharpton's worried. He's worried that it may take a little bit to make sure the veracity of the data, the voting election data is accurate. Folks, these people are full of shit. Rewind to the beginning of the show, please. It's like, we can't. It's a live show. Beginning of the show, what did I tell you? Everything they're telling you is bullshit, folks. Everything. I heard Jessica Tarloff yesterday on the 5. Child poverty is down under Biden-Harris. There is no one who promotes more nonsense misinformation on TV than Tarloff. She's had to retract stuff. It's just nonsense. Everything she says to you is crap. These people just make stuff up. I got a clip for you I'm going to play tomorrow because I got a lot more to get to today. This other Democrat on Fox with Sandra Smith, who's like, I can't believe you're cutting me off because I'm a woman. Because she didn't say anything. Everything they tell you is bullshit. Everything. They are lying to you. This is a bumper sticker campaign. Whenever they're asked to produce even a small bit of verifiable data about their claims, they collapse. Here's a simple one. I saw this on X yesterday. Here is a chart. By the way, these are government statistics, the BLS. So unless the Biden Bureau of Labor Statistics, Biden and Harris, are lying to you, I want you to look at this chart. I want you to notice the top of the chart. The top states for job growth. Did you notice all but basically one of them are pretty solid red states? Outside of maybe Nevada and Colorado, which are slightly blue and one purple state. Then go to the bottom. You scroll all the way to the bottom. And you notice the job growth sucks and all the states at the bottom, oh, look, it's New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Illinois, Vermont, West Virginia, Maryland, Louisiana, Hawaii, District of Columbia, Connecticut. Look at this. Well, most of the states at the bottom are all blue with a couple of exceptions. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, in the sane world, we would call that a trend. But we don't live in a sane world. We live in an insane world. Look at the top 20. It's overwhelmingly red. Overwhelmingly. The only blue state even close is Washington, and are they barely in the top 20? Everything they tell you, man, is total bullshit. I'm getting a lot of questions, by the way, in the chat. I want to just address this quick before I move on to the Secret Service story, because I got an update on that, too. I started a little different today because, you know, the Secret Service story is very important, but there's a lot more to get to. So I did a shorter segment on it today. I hope you all understand. Covered it at length yesterday. Folks, the Soros acquisition, George Soros, of a number of radio stations. I'm going to cover it in a little more detail tomorrow, but I sense a lot of you in the chat are obviously very concerned about this. You know, they say, Dan, how does it affect you? Well, it doesn't. I work for Westwood One. I don't work for the company that he purchased. If we're on some of those stations, I don't know. I'm going to have to check into that. But I'm just telling you now, I want you all to write this down. I'll sign this thing with my own fingerprint right now. Nobody tells me what to say on radio or my podcast. Comprende? Like, everybody understand? Anybody thinking about telling me what to say, either now or in the future, anyone, you can cancel my show immediately. There is zero chance it's going to happen. I backed that up in the past, and I'll do it again. I don't give a shit who it is. George Soros can plant his lips on my ass. If him or his company try to tell me anything at any station I'm on anywhere, I will say, hey, George, here's my ass, okay? Right here, the gluteus maximus. You can take your head and plant it on my ass because I have absolutely no intention of changing my show one bit. Ass right on the end, because that's what's going to happen. And I will tell you that on your own station, if you bought any of the stations I'm on. I will use your station to tell you to kiss my ass, just like I'm doing right now. And this is all recorded. This will be VOD, video on demand later. So it's my message to George. You can kiss my ass, okay? Big wet one. Kiss Kisso el aso, because that's what you can do. I will be changing absolutely nothing. Everybody clear? Anyone on the crew have any questions? Nope. Michael, we all good? All good. All good. Anyone in the chat? Anyone have any questions? Were we clear enough? Okay, thanks. I'll cover it in a little more detail tomorrow about what happened as purchase of the company. But I have a funny feeling my friends in the business are going to tell them the same thing too. There you go. I love you guys in the chat. You're the best. All right, back to some, that is serious stuff, but this is like life or death, legitimate life or death stuff. Folks, I said something yesterday and it went kind of viral. And I'm going to double down on it today because it's true. And I'm getting this from some very serious people who are very concerned. Donald Trump is being hunted. I don't use that word in an inflammatory, dramatic fashion. I use it in the technical sense that there are people out there, very serious, credible cells that are real and active of people who will not stop unless Donald Trump is dead. Now, these people can be defeated, but they cannot be defeated with a second-rate security system. And right now, unfortunately, that's what we have. Folks, the guy who is currently in jail, this guy Ralph, who is the suspect in this second assassination attempt in West Palm Beach, the story is getting stranger now by the day. Folks, the money trail. You know, I wrote this book called Follow the Money. I wrote the title that way intentionally because when you follow the money and you see how money influences people, you will understand why people act the way they do. Nobody can seem to dissect the money trail, where this guy got his money from to finance this operation. They're saying he was living on $3,000 a month. How is he taking trips to Ukraine? Ukraine? Oh, yeah. Pay very close attention to this Waters hit. This is really important. And I want you to listen to the countries he was going to at the end and ask yourself, how the hell did he get there? Who paid for it? Who authorized it? Check this out.
Why has Ruth never served a day in jail when he has 100 different counts to his name? Why was Ruth's fiancée, who just lost her job at Victoria's Secret, okay with him flying to Ukraine for months at a time? How was he able to feed himself in Ukraine when he only had $68 in his bank account? And everywhere he goes, he gets press from the local papers to the New York Times to Newsweek. Let's take a listen to Jesse Waters breaking it down.
So how the citizen of the year with a nice house and a good family turned into an assassin living in a barn with more felonies than money in his bank account. Ruth couldn't even afford child support. Primetime looked into it, and he was always behind on payments to his ex, always. She even agreed to terminate the support due to his financial situation. Ruth sold his house in North Carolina for $174,000 and then was also living in an $800,000 bungalow in Hawaii. How does a man with no money for child support suddenly start living in a pricey house in Hawaii and afford flights to Taiwan, Turkey, Poland, Ukraine?
Big hat tip to Vigilant News there as well. Sorry, that was that voice you heard in the beginning. That is a really, really puzzling kind of a question, isn't it? How is it some loner, appears to be kind of like a life loser type guy, flying around the world to hot zones and everywhere else? Where is he getting the money to do this? You know, listen, not to get off track here, but I've got a family member who wants to come with me to a concert in a few weeks, and he's got a great job, and calls me the other day. He's like, man, I just can't afford it. I'm sorry. Between the hotel and all this other stuff. He's like, I don't have the money. How the hell is a guy on $3,000 a month flying around the world into the world's hot zones and nobody notices? The answer is they did notice. DHS and others noticed. How's he doing this, folks? Now, hold that hit right there. That clip. Sorry, you don't want to use jargon. That media clip in your head, right in the front of your cerebral cortex. Now I want you to listen to this clip. This is Matt Gaetz talking about a Ukraine connection with some of these squads and cells here in the United States. So the question's quickly becoming, who the hell was this guy working for? And is the answer a complicated one? Remember, if you go back to things like whatever, from Iran-Contra on, a lot of these things that break with these overseas affairs The person you think you're dealing with is not always the person you're dealing with. Listen to this. You'll see what I mean. Check this out.
I don't want you to think there are only 5. There are 5 teams that were known by our government to have been hunting Trump pre-Butler. That may be a very different number today. Matter of fact, that number could have increased or shrunk, right? For all we know, by today, they've neutralized one of the teams or one of the individuals involved in these efforts. But to hear that one of them is Ukrainian, and then you see this guy show up, who, by the way, was on the radar of Homeland Security investigations, because when he enters the country, the very smart and astute folks at Customs and Border Patrol, think about that. Your Customs and Border Patrol, your agency has been totally overrun. You're exhausted. And yet they have the wherewithal to say, this doesn't make sense. This guy's been all over the world. And now he's saying he's a freedom fighter, recruiting people. And when we ask him a reasonable question, who's funding your efforts to recruit people from Taiwan and Afghanistan to go fight in Ukraine?
Iran.
Who's funding that? And the answer is, oh, my wife's paying for it. That story didn't exactly check out. You and I both have very successful wives that we're very proud of, but I don't think they'd pay for a hobby quite like this. And so when that goes to HSI, no activity, no action, no review. And now it emerges that one of the teams we knew about hunting Trump had a Ukraine connection.
Folks, I promise you, you have not even heard a tenth of the details in this, what's going to be an enormous scandal. There is something going on behind the scenes right now that connects these foreign entities that have business with the United States, either good or bad, and an operation to kill Donald Trump. And the key question right now is how many of these cells are real and active, and how much interaction has happened between the Biden-Harris administration and their campaigns and these Iranians who were trying to feed them information. How much of that has yet to be disclosed? People like Ken Delanian, who are supposed to be deep state specialists, you'd think they'd be interested in this stuff. Folks, they are hiding something big here. If these two would-be assassins are connected to a foreign government, and people in our government knew about it, not only knew about it, but if people in our government facilitated this, and that comes out, it's going to be, again, the biggest scandal of our time. Get ready for more on this, folks. This thing is ugly. And I told you yesterday, their communication systems in the Secret Service have likely been compromised. This story is going to get worse. Let me get back to Kamala and the campaign, too. Because, folks, we can't lose this election. This is not optional. It's not one of those elections like, we lose it like it was a JFK type thing. You get John F. Kennedy in there, who's more of a moderate Democrat, and you're going to suffer through 4 years of Democrat policies, but it's recoverable. Maybe second term Bill Clinton. He was like the era of big government's over. That's not this. The lady is a bumper sticker, and what's behind this bumper sticker is nasty. It's toxic to your skin. There is nothing she's promoting that is going to even remotely enhance your prosperity. Now, I will say again, the argument about the Second Amendment to Democrats has nothing to do with guns. Oh my gosh, Dan, sure it does. No, it doesn't. The gun for them is a proxy for a bigger argument. The Democrats hate anything that enables you to live your life independently of government. The gun is a vehicle for your own self-protection. The Democrats hate the idea that you can protect yourself using a firearm. That's why they always want to take your guns. If the Democrats truly hated guns and thought they were so inherently dangerous, I'll prove it to you. I'll prove it to you. The Democrats wouldn't surround themselves with guns. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. The Democrats want to take your guns because they want you vulnerable. And they want you like little desperate sheep. That's why. Kamala Harris will be the biggest gun-grabbing president we've seen in U.S. history. This woman has even less backbone than the hapless Joe Biden. Here she is in another video that surfaced the other day, celebrating Australia's gun laws. The gun confiscation laws in Australia? She doesn't even know the data, folks. There are more guns in Australia now. I'll get to that in a second. But here she is again, the worst asset to any campaign I've ever seen in modern Democrat presidential politics is Kamala Harris running the Kamala Harris campaign. Here she is celebrating Australia's gun confiscation. In her own words, check this out.
Gun violence has terrorized and traumatized so many of our communities in this country. And let us be clear, it does not have to be this way, as our friends in Australia have demonstrated.
As our friends in Australia have demonstrated? Folks, does this woman know anything? I told you she's a bumper sticker. Here's her bumper sticker. Guns kill. They do. Really? I've had guns for a long time. They haven't killed anyone. That's really weird. Yeah, maybe guns kill bad guys trying to kill you. Australia's gun laws are as a model of success? Really? I was on 60 Minutes once with 60 Minutes Australia. Did you guys ever see this clip? Here I am on 60 Minutes Australia debating. The host of the show has no idea that there are more guns now in Australia after their failed gun confiscation laws than there are now. So if you're going to say Australian gun laws worked by creating less guns, you've got it all backwards. There are now more guns. Check this out. Why do I carry a gun? Because if someone confronts me in a gun in an incident, God forbid, given the extremely low likelihood, you're dead. It's over. Now, the only question I have for you is, you want to defend yourself? What are you going to do if a bad guy shows up with a gun and sticks it in your face? What are you going to curse at him? Oh, I mean, what are you going to
give him my wallet and say, there you go. Good luck to you.
What if that's not enough? You can't give me a good answer as to what you would do if a guy confronts you with a gun. What? Oh, here's my wallet. What, are you going to beg? You going to get on your knees? I'm not getting on my knees. You can get on yours. I ain't getting on mine. I got one more I want to play for you, too, from that clip. Because, folks, this guy, he was a nice enough guy. Again, he was in my house. That was my old house in Palm State. I don't live there anymore. But they came to my house. They flew all the way over from Australia. I was stunned at how little this guy knew. Then he starts citing his own country as an example of success for gun laws. Check this out.
Marjorie Stoneman School is just down the road from here.
Yeah.
What do you say to the students there that say that gun control is necessary?
Well, gun control is a myth. I mean, we've never controlled guns. I don't even.
Is now the time?
Well, how? I mean, what evidence does anybody have that gun control's worked anywhere?
Australia?
You have no evidence that gun control's worked in Australia.
So there has not been a single mass shooting since the gun buyback.
Okay, so, and I encourage everyone to do all your own homework. There are more guns now in Australia than before the gun confiscation. It doesn't work. Folks, please look that up. Please look that up. Go online right now and look that up, and you'll see I'm right. Because I looked it up for him when the camera stopped rolling, and the guy couldn't believe it. Do you understand the argument he's trying to make? There has not been a single mass shooting in Australia because we took everybody's guns. You did. You realize there are more guns in Australia now, correct? So you're actually making the opposite argument, that more guns lead to less crime, and especially less gun crime. You understand you're making the opposite argument. The guy was stunned. This is what Kamala Harris, this is the Democrats. Again, please go back to the beginning of the show. Everything they're telling you, folks, is bullshit. Everything. The states with constitutional carry and the areas run by conservative sheriffs with liberal firearms laws where people can protect themselves, right, have lower crime rates. The highest crime rates in the country are in urban areas run by liberal Democrat goofballs who have strict gun laws where people can't protect themselves. This is not hard. Everything they're telling you is bullshit. Everything. It doesn't stand up to even the mildest of scrutiny. I will never forget. The interview was over. Again, the guy wasn't rude or anything like that. And you didn't see a lot of it on camera. But when that's over, I look it up for him. I go to my counter. We had a little counter by this kitchen island we had in the old house. I put my phone down and I pulled up this, whatever, Australian Dispatch article or something. More guns now in Australia than before. And the guy couldn't believe it. He's like, wow, mate, I think you're right. Yes, I am right. You just don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. What's that? Yes, the guy with the sports coat. I wish I would have had my own camera rolling to show you the look on this guy's face. This is the entire Democrat Party summed up. All right, I want to go back to the beginning of the show, too. I want to talk about something here, folks. This is really important. The Iranian threat here, folks. The Iranian threat to Donald Trump and to this country is very real. Is there something going on with an Iran-Ukraine nexus? Are they using people to a third-party country? I don't know. I'm just telling you, what did the Kamala Harris campaign know? Because we now know conclusively that Iranian operators were reaching out to the Biden campaign for president and the Harris campaign for president and trying to collude. Oh, there's that word again, collusion. And magically, there's no FISA investigation, and it appears the FBI is nowhere to be found as far as we know. Here's Congressman Russell Fry talking about exactly this in a really important clip. Because, folks, there's a huge scandal going on right now, and you haven't heard anything about it, and it's collusion between the Iranians and the Harris campaign, and everybody is really quiet about it as they're trying to shoot Donald Trump and pop him in the head. Check this out.
In the interest of protecting our democracy, shouldn't politicians show more interest in this Iranian hack?
Oh, 100%. And quite frankly, the mainstream media should be too. I mean, 4 years ago, we pursued a Russia collusion hoax for years and years, and no one seems to bat an eye that our biggest adversary in the Middle East is trying to interfere in our elections. And there's no question about who they support as president.
So, Congressman, do you see an October surprise then coming from a foreign actor?
Well, I think they're certainly trying, and so I'm hopeful that law enforcement agencies are equipped to deal with this, but it is deeply troubling that you have a foreign government that is trying to pre-engineer who's going to win, and what's in it for the Iranians, right? I mean, President Trump put tremendous sanctions on them. He withdrew from the disastrous Iran deal. He took out Qasem Soleimani. He continues to put pressure on the Iranians even now, and this administration has given them $6 billion. They've turned a blind eye to the sanctions, which has allowed Iran to fund Hezbollah and Hamas. So there's no question in my mind, and I think most Americans' minds, about who they support. We just need to stop it.
Donald Trump put out this post on Truth Social and Twitter last night talking about how he has been briefed by the disastrous Iranian threat. Folks, I'm telling you, the threat is real. I was chatting with Avita about this morning, and I have zero doubt that there are a number of people and groups with aligned interests, and that aligned interest is what? Anybody know? That aligned interest is make Donald Trump go bye-bye. I have absolutely zero doubt between the deep staters, the swampies, a group of left-wing NGOs, intelligence agencies that know he's going to come in and open the books on him. There are groups of people that unquestionably want Donald Trump gone. All I'm telling you, and you can do what you want with it, I'm telling you with certainty. You want to believe me? It's okay. You don't? That's okay too. I would think, given my history on Spygate, collusion, the intelligence letter, Hunter Biden laptop, and my background in the Secret Service, that you would err on the side of he's probably right on this, but it's okay. You do you. I'm telling you, this threat is real. It is absolutely real. Donald Trump does not trust the deep state at all. There's a reason he put this out. Big threats on my life by Iran. The entire U.S. military is watching and waiting. Moves were already made by Iran. It didn't work out, but they'll try again. Not a good situation for anyone. I'm surrounded by men, guns, and weapons more than I've seen before. Thank you to Congress for approving more money for the Secret Service. I'll take a hard pass on that one. They don't need more money. They need better leadership. However, folks, the threat is very real. The threat is not just from Iran, but that particular threat is real. You know, when you're working protective intelligence in the Secret Service, because some crazy person threatens, say, a member of the Trump family, and another person threatens him, it doesn't mean that it's a zero-sum game. Like there's an unlimited amount of people who can threaten people. That's what I'm trying to get at here. This is real. So the report came out. I have it right here. The initial findings. You're probably just seeing a white piece of paper. There it is up on the screen right there. Folks, some of the stuff in here is just devastating. I'm not going to spend the entire show on the report, folks, because most of it you've already heard. However, there are some things I want to relitigate because I told you them a couple months ago when this happened. Number one, it is extremely important you get the titles right of the people responsible for the security plan, because the Secret Service is playing games right now. And if you read the report, you'll find the top line, most important takeaway the judges ruled is that the people involved at the site and the security plan were all saying, that guy did it. I mean, this guy did it. No, that guy. But never this guy. Remember when I told you, you got to get the titles right? And too many people are going on TV effing it up? Well, we need the lead site agent. Wait, what do you mean? Do you mean the lead agent or the site agent? Because they're not the same thing. And this is not a stupid euphemisms game. Exactly what I told you was going to happen is happening. Folks in the chat, I don't want to waste your time. Did I not tell you this? If people would have just listened to me and would have let me ask the damn questions, we wouldn't have this problem. I would have gone right to the lead agent. The lead agent was from the DTD, the Donald Trump detail. And I would have said, you are responsible for the security of the president. You are the DTD agent, the liaison to the site. What happened? This is the person in charge. The site agent from the Pittsburgh field office is a different person. And when you don't understand the difference, this is what you read the report. It talks about how nobody wanted to blame anyone. Everyone said it wasn't their fault. It's because they don't understand what these people are supposed to do. If I had a gauge, blob job, always skeptic 22. Folks, if I had a gauge responsibility, because there are a number of people here who screwed things up. Number one is the lead agent from the DTD, the Donald Trump detail. They know that she knows the detail, was at the site. Absolutely no excuse, okay? But I take that back. Scratch that. First is headquarters. Ron Rowe, Protective Operations, the AD of PO, the Deputy Director, and the DAD of PO, Deputy Assistant Director, because they're the ones that would not give them the assets, okay? But second is the site agent, the lead agent. Third is the site agent from the Pittsburgh field office. Someone should have checked on that roof line. The no accountability thing is amazing. And this is the problem when you get people up there, and it's not their fault, folks. If you asked me to go up on Capitol Hill and question a bunch of Senate staffers about how they write bills, I don't freaking know the questions to ask. I lost my race for the U.S. Senate. I don't have Senate staffers. But you didn't have experts asking the questions. And this is what happened. A bunch of people went, well, that's not my job. I would have been, but no, actually, that is your job. You know full well, as the lead agent from the DTD, that your job was to oversee the entire security plan. You know damn well it was your job. I would have had the director in there on day one. What assets were asked for? What assets did you deny? What assets did you deny historically? Give me the records. I want to see the money allocations to the security plan. I want to read the emails. None of this stuff. You got to know the right questions to ask. Here, shocking, from the report. The counter sniper team lead never even went to the AGR property prior to the shooting, including the roof or inside the building where where the local counter sniper teams were positioned. Now, I know that the instinct is going to be to jump down the throat of the counter sniper team. However, who is the one that ultimately approves the counter sniper team being able to go out there a week in advance and do a proper advance to the site? The answer is headquarters. So headquarters says no. So the CS, I'm not telling you that this is okay. I'm just telling you that when we're going to pin blame, we better pin it on the right people, or you're going to get the same shit. That guy did it. That guy did it. That guy did it. That guy did it. I would have said to headquarters right away, why the hell wasn't the counter sniper team out there a week in advance? Who signed off on them going out there same day or the day before? Who? That's why no one in headquarters is telling the truth. Here's another one. Counter sniper says that they didn't even look around really independently at the threat areas. Well, that's kind of weird. Quote, it was more to make sure the roof was secure for us to stand on. Folks, this is inexcusable. It's inexcusable. But again, you have to understand, if they would have had a week to do a proper CS advance, work with local agencies, grid out what they were looking at, this wouldn't have been an issue. Why is headquarters? Why did everybody get promoted out of this? Here's another one. It's like 3 or 4 of these I picked out. Leading up to Trump's rally in Butler, the Secret Service denied requests from the DTD. Sounds like something I told you, folks. Remember me bringing up the CSU, Counter Surveillance Unit? What is their job? Their job is to go undercover and look for suspicious characters. Why didn't they find a suspicious character walking around the site that day who later went and shot Trump in the head and murdered Corey Comparator? Anybody have any idea why they didn't see him? Because they weren't there. Oh, looky here. This is crazy. While a counter surveillance unit was deployed for Dr. Jill, prominent neurosurgeon, her threat level is like close to 0. They had a CSU team for Dr. Jill counter surveillance, basically undercovers. A unit was not requested for President Trump. Secret Service agents raised concerns about not having CSU at the rally, which would have identified suspicious behavior outside the event perimeter. Folks in the chat, why didn't CSU detect a guy outside of the perimeter? That's right, Jack, because they weren't there. Which is what I told you a couple months ago. The CSU agents I worked with were badass. You know why they found themselves in CSU? Let me tell you something. CSU, this is a little informal stuff I'm going to tell you about the Secret Service. You have to go to a satellite detail when you go to a protection detail. There's sub-details, right? You have to go to either the First Lady's detail, transportation, it used to be CAT, but they moved them out, or CSU. Some of the best agents I work with, they had mouths on them. They would stick up for themselves. They tell management, go yourself, right? So they'd stick them in CSU because they're not around the inner circle and they're out of the outer perimeter. They were some of the best agents we had in the detail. Really, some of the best guys around. I'm telling you with certainty they would have detected this guy on the outside. Forget about the guy getting on the roof. The guy wouldn't have been anywhere near the site. They would have stopped him. They would have had someone talk to him, and they would have found that the guy had a rangefinder and a long-range rifle in his backpack. Why didn't they find him? Again, folks in the chat, because they weren't there. Like I says. Here it is. Justin, is this boring? No. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. Michael? I like it. Okay. Well, there was a CAT team at the site, counter assault team. That's the Secret Service SWAT team. This is from the report. There was no CAT liaison, LNO. That's kind of important, right? You're going to have other guys with heavy weapons at the site. Maybe a good idea to have a liaison so you understand how they're going to deploy in an emergency. I don't know. Sounds kind of crazy. Secret Service headquarters said, ixnay on that, snay. We're not doing that, snay. There wasn't one. So we had no CSU team for counter surveillance. We had no CAT team, although Dr. Jill had CSU. That's really important. I wonder what they've been doing. Dr. Jill, the prominent neurosurgeon, she had him. They had no counter sniper teams prior to this rally. The counter sniper team they got, I think, showed up the day before some and didn't even get to scope out the site. Pun intended, believe me. And now we find out that the counter unmanned aerial systems assets, in other words, drones, were requested by DTD as early as July 10th, but were denied by Secret Service headquarters. This is insane. This is crazy. Secret Service headquarters. Yeah, I'm going to skip to page 2. And this is the crazy thing. So all the people in the management chain at Secret Service headquarters who denied the drone assets, the CAT assets, the CS assets, and the CSU assets, right? The people, you understand they all got promoted? Here, you doubt me? From the report, point 3. The July 13th Butler event was the first time former President Trump had counter snipers at an event. The USSS Assistant Director of Protective Operations told the committee sometime prior to July 5th, a decision was made that Secret Service would send counter sniper to outdoor events going forward based on intelligence and threat information. All but one of the witnesses the committees interviewed were aware of this decision. In other words, the entire management chain of the Secret Service had decided to not give Trump counter sniper assets, despite knowing about the intelligence. What's the intelligence? Go back to the Trump tweet, fellas. Put it up on the screen. That's the intelligence right there. Now I feel free to tell you. There was a long-range, viable, credible threat. This was not by Jason-born operators in Iran. It was by a bunch of chuckleheads the Iranians were trying to recruit to kill Donald Trump. They were morons. Luckily, sitting in the woods with, totally undisguised, walking up on a roof line. Folks, this shit is for real, man. You're not going to have a president to vote for on election day, a presidential candidate, if the Secret Service management is not purged at the top and told to retire or fired. I'm really sorry. This is crazy. The counter-sniper advance lead witnessed law enforcement running towards the AGR building, but the thought didn't cross his mind to inform the president's protective detail. Folks, they're running with their weapons drawn. Now, you're probably asking yourself, I now have an answer to the question, why was Trump still on the X and not brought off the stage? Well, not brought off the stage. It was an unfathomable series of grotesquely stupid decisions. And I've told you before, layered incompetence is intent. But the people responsible for pulling him off stage, now were not told about the threat. They were told that something was being worked. Now, I'm telling you as a Secret Service agent, again, let me listen to what I just said. Layered incompetence is intent. But the people responsible for pulling him off the stage were only told, and now according to the report, that something was being worked. That's a real problem. Because if you've been in the Secret Service like I have, it is not even remotely uncommon at outdoor rallies to hear that particular language. And the problem is the people who did this did not relay the specific threat, which is such an unbelievably stupid, incompetent decision combined with everything else. People are starting to ask some really serious questions. You're working as potential shooter. That's what you put out on the radio. You're taught that in Training 101. You don't just put out some generic, hey, something's happening. That's not what you do. Is it a medical? Is it a tactical? Is it a chem bio? Is it an IED? Is it an airborne threat? Is there a fire? You got all of these responses are different. You don't just throw out there, something's happening. The lead advance agent was told that credible intelligence existed of a threat, but still wrote in a security planning document that there was no adverse intelligence. Oh my gosh. Layered incompetence, folks, is intent. Here, I'm going to explain this one to you and then we'll move on. I got a couple other things to get to. On July 10th, the USSS Pittsburgh field office sent a letter to the FBI requesting any intelligence related to Trump and the rally. The FBI didn't respond to the letter or share intelligence information with the Secret Service in response. Oh my gosh. Let me tell you what happened here. If anyone in the chat, by the way, is even remotely confused about how I feel about this, you're not listening to what I'm telling you. Layered incompetence is intent. Is intent. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Let me explain this letter, though. These letters go out every time there's a trip. Every time. The Secret Service has been sending them out since I was an agent back in 1999. The letter is sent to the FBI. It is nothing more, you ready? It's nothing more than a CYA thing. They are not taken seriously. It goes in the protection file. The supervisors in these districts of the Secret Service field offices they're only sending these out as a CYA thing. The FBI gets them all the time. Every time there's a protectee in, I don't even know how to, it's like you getting a receipt in a restaurant for dinner sometimes. Most of you barely look at the receipt. You just give them the credit card. one day you're going to get ripped off. Listen to what I'm telling you. They've been sending these things out since 1999. But earlier than that, way before I got on. They go in a protection file. That's the only reason it's done is to CYA. Oh, we asked the FBI if there's anything going on. Nobody takes these things seriously. Well, Dan, that sounds like it could create a dangerous situation. Okay. Yes. You knew all this, man. You listened to my show, you already knew all this. I had a couple more for this threat is real, folks. How many times do I got to be right on this? Who steered you wrong here? I told you in August of last year from a whistleblower. Look at the show. It's episode 2071. Go watch the show today and listen to the language. Sounds oddly familiar to stuff in this report, right? I'm telling you, this threat is real. Trump knows it's real. And if we don't clean out the top of the Secret Service, he ain't going to make it to Inauguration Day. Take a quick break. I've got a few other points on this, including more shocking information coming out about the pre-op level of surveillance here. Hey, it's time for tailgating season and, of course, cookouts. With lots more grilling left in the season, the experts at Omaha Steaks are inviting you to savor summer with 50% off site-wide during their Labor Day sale. Plus, you get an extra $20 off with buying promo code Bongino. For 5 generations, Omaha Steaks has brought you endless flavor, endless variety, and endless value with premium proteins that are sure to satisfy, and it doesn't stop there. You'll enjoy big savings on premium pork and chicken, scrumptious sides, and, of course, decadent desserts to sweeten the deal. I've been a fan of Omaha Steaks for a long time. The steaks, the chicken, the burgers are absolutely spectacular. You put them on a toasted bun. Whether you're having a cookout or getting fired up for tailgating, savor summer with 50% off site-wide during the Omaha Steaks Labor Day sale. Shop today at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $20 off when you use promo code Bongino at checkout. Plus, every purchase is backed by their unconditional money-back guarantee. Minimum purchase may apply. Visit omahasteaks.com for details. Thank you, Omaha Steaks. Folks, I want you to watch this. This is a quick hit. It's only about 20 seconds. This is the Laura Ingraham show. Matt Whitaker was on there last night. They were talking about, Laura Ingraham brings up, she's a lawyer. She's not stupid. The level of pre-operational surveillance involved here in the second assassination attempt with the pink shirt wearing guy. This guy had been out there for months, folks. This was not, just watch this clip. I'll tell you what I think on the other side. Check this out.
He was at these locations on multiple times, surveilling or casing the joints, as they would say, and nobody notices. That's also just very odd, especially since he should have been on everybody's radar given his past.
This is what I was discussing with Evita this morning. The guy had already tripped 5 or 6 different alarms, apparently, from various entities based on his overseas activities in Ukraine and elsewhere. And magically, this guy wasn't on anyone's watch list. He wasn't on some bolo, be on the lookout for. Folks, this doesn't make any sense, okay? When I was an agent, when you were doing a site advance in whatever, Omaha, Nebraska, you would get a portfolio of people, and it would say, like, this guy threatened the president, this guy threatened this guy's kids, this guy's a lookout, and you would have a bolo. Be on the lookout. Not to arrest them because they didn't do anything now, but to make sure they didn't come into the site. How the hell was this guy engaged in pre-op surveillance, had a freaking GoPro camera, and all these foreign contacts, and nobody seemed to know? Bullshit. Don't think the Iranian threat is the exclusive. This is not a zero-sum threat game. Is this making sense, guys? Because I have a feeling like there are people who don't understand what I'm saying, and I'm really I'm going to be disappointed in myself. The threat game is not zero-sum. If me, Evita, and Michael were bad guys from like a Batman comic, and we all have an interest in making Robin go away, we may never talk to each other at all. But someone on top who's like the crime lord of the city may get wind that all of us want to get rid of Robin and may facilitate it so all 3 of us get rid of Robin without any of us knowing. It's actually better off, as a matter of fact, that we don't know each other's plans. Why? Why? Because if one gets caught, then he doesn't give up the other two. This is not a zero-sum threat matrix. I am extremely suspicious here that there may be some significant swamp activity going on here. There is no way this guy did all this stuff and evaded detection the entire time and didn't pop on anyone's radar. There's just no way. Here's Ron Johnson on with Benny Johnson. He was on his show. And Ron Johnson, who's getting briefed on this, by the way, hints at the end at exactly what I'm telling you. That it sounds like there may be something more nefarious going on here than just a couple chuckleheads who tried to kill Donald Trump because they were loners. Folks, the freaking story does not make any sense. I'm sorry. Check this out.
Well, and you know, CIA has to have a file on him when he's in Ukraine. CBP was tipped off. I mean, they questioned him. Homeland Security investigations didn't follow up on that. So again, that's why the federal government, let some guy like that slip through their fingers if there's not even potentially something more nefarious. So they're not turning over the records. We may never get them.
Folks, why are they not turning over the records? Does that make any sense to you? If nobody had anything to hide and there wasn't a more sophisticated plot. Remember, deep staters, intelligence assets, foreign governments, people who hate Donald Trump, they all may have the same interests in line, but they may not know about each other's separate plots. Why are they not being open and honest about information? All right, I'm going to take my last break, and I'm going to get into the campaign stuff because, folks, I'm obviously worried that if Donald Trump wins, we may not get to January with this continued elevated threat level. And I can't express to you enough. I'm not telling you everything I know because I have sources here I have to protect. I give someone my word and they say, don't say anything. You're not going to act like an asshole and then go on the air and go, oh, screw you. I'm not going to. I promise you I'm not steering you wrong. He is in real trouble with these clowns in charge now. They're all too busy covering their own asses. A bit of good news, the Kamala Harris campaign is in a world of trouble. A world of trouble. Hey, you having trouble sleeping or staying asleep? Listen, I've been there. It's not just about feeling tired the next day. It's about the toll poor sleep can take on every aspect of your life. But guess what? There's hope on the horizon. It comes in the form of Beam's Dream Powder. It's been a game changer for me. See, we're sleeping well, we're sharper, more focused, and ready to tackle whatever life throws our way. And today, my listeners get a special discount on Beam's Dream Powder. They're science-backed hot cocoa for sleep with no added sugar. Better sleep has never tasted better. Other sleep aids can cause next-day grogginess, but Dream contains a powerful all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. You want to try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder? Beam's now offering Bongino Show listeners an exclusive discount. Get up to 45% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Bongino and use code Bongino at checkout. Check it out. Get a good night's sleep. Shop BEAM.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino for up to 45% off. And our last sponsor today, Mike Lindell and MyPillow. They have a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of their life. But he didn't stop by simply creating the best pillow. Mike created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial with my busy schedule. Mike's offering the best deal on his MyPillow Giza Dream bed sheets. You can get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.99. First night you sleep on these sheets, you'll never want to sleep on anything else. Mike's making a special offer for my listeners. You can get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.99. Call 800-637-4982. Use promo code Dan or go to MyPillow.com. Make sure you use the promo code Dan. Don't miss the best deal on MyPillow's Giza Dream bed sheets. The number again is 1-800-637-4982. Use promo code Dan. Guys, it is hot as hell in here. After a Vita show, you got to turn the air conditioner. It's down now. I'm dying. I turned it down. You got to turn the thing down. It's like a freaking. So I am not cutting, folks, and I am not cutting weight for a UFC match. If I look like it is hot as fuck in here. Pardon my language. I can't work like this. I'm serious. You got to turn the AC. I'm dying in here. I got a fan going, freaking AC in my head. I'm sweating. I got sweat coming out of everywhere. Holy Moses, get me some Lumi or something. Holy shit. My gosh, it's like 100 degrees in here. Shit. It's like, is it bad enough yet? We're talking about like the climate control. And I'm not even talking about the election anymore. You guys are killing me here. You gotta turn it down. Okay, I'm in trouble. But 3 markers, Kamala Harris's campaign is in bigger trouble. Number 1, she is doing something so obviously counterintuitive right now. You know it's being done out of a sense of panic. She's talking about a trip to the border. Why the hell would Kamala Harris want to take a trip to the border when she's the border czar with an open border that is the number 1 or number 2 issue concerning every American? The answer is the internal polls in the Harris campaign, folks, must be 1,000 times worse than the polls you're seeing publicly. So this is nothing more than a Hail Mary. Even, who is it, Mark Penn, who's a Democrat pollster, was like, what is she doing? Like, why bring attention to this issue? Second, she's releasing another economic plan. Of course, there aren't going to be any specifics. The thing's going to be all bullshit. But she's releasing this plan because, again, the internals on her campaign must be 1,000 times worse than what you're seeing publicly. Third, another sign she's in deep, deep shit. She now wants a CNN debate. She won't debate on Fox, but she's desperate for another debate. Her campaign, the fake AstroTurf gaslighting, ladies and gentlemen, is over. When New York Times, Siena, and Quinnipiac, which have all been pretty friendly to Democrats over the last few election cycles, are sounding the alarm about Kamala Harris, you know you're in trouble. I want you to listen to this Fox Martha McCallum clip on a New York Times Siena poll. She's in real trouble, folks. Check this out.
The crucial battleground states, he now leads Vice President Harris by 5 in Arizona. Remember, Arizona was just down to, tens of thousands of votes, very slim margin in 2020. He trailed by 5 last month in Arizona. So that's a move in the New York Times Siena College poll to his benefit. He is up 2 points in North Carolina right now after trailing there by 2 in August. And he is hanging on to his 4-point lead in the state of Georgia.
I can't say this enough, man. The guy runs between 9 and 5 points ahead, or 5 and 9 points ahead of every national poll. Is it silent Trump voters? I got a clip I'm hopefully going to get to tomorrow on the show about that. How a number of voters now are saying, I don't like Trump, but I liked his policies. Those are the people in polls who I guarantee you are either hanging up the phone when they're asked the question because they can't reconcile not liking him with having to vote for him because they know he's better. Do you get what I'm saying? They can't tell anyone. They're not ready. But I'm telling you, when they go in the voting booth, cha-ching, they're going to vote for Trump. He is going to outperform his polls by probably 4 to 6 points. I have zero doubt. Remember also, the national polling means nothing. If national polling from New York Times, Siena, and Quinnipiac has Kamala Harris tied or even ahead by 1, and Trump runs 3-4 points ahead, there is absolutely zero math for her to win. No red wave bullshit. I don't want to hear it. I'm just telling you, she is in panic mode. Folks, I'm always candid with you. I don't have the deep sourcing I did on other campaigns, especially Obama's. You probably figured that out. I don't have as deep a sourcing on Harris as I did on Biden either, where I could always get kind of the inside take from people who know people. But the sources I have are not terrible. Panic is breaking out. They are in legit trouble. Here's Chris Coons, who's one of, I guess, our surrogates, a senator from Delaware, just a goofball. Here he is on CNBC, and he doesn't have an answer again for the Kamala Harris economic plan. And folks, listen to me. This is the most important takeaway from this segment, why Kamala's in trouble. Voters hate a vacuum. They hate it. Voters, they don't like a vacuum. They need something to vote for, anything. Undecideds. Communists are going to vote commie. Hardcore Democrats are going to vote Harris. I get that. Undecided voters, you have to give them something. Kamala Harris will not answer anything on the death penalty, on guns, nothing on the economy. So here's Chris Coons, and what does he do? Tries to blame Trump. But here's the problem they're having. Trump is in a vacuum. Everybody remembers what the Trump presidency was like, and he's out in front of the cameras every day. Nobody likes a vacuum. She can't possibly win like this. And this is why she's making those 3 changes. Check this out.
Do you believe that they deserve to know specific details about her economic plan? Should you know what your tax rate is going to be, or at least what she believes your tax rate should be, before you go to the polls? Should you know what the regulatory sort of regime in her perfected world would look like? I think these are sort of singular important questions, and you could say maybe you're not supposed to know these things, but I think that's what people want to understand.
She's laid out a broad vision for what are her priorities, and I think your average American voter's got to look at the chaos, the unpredictability, the sort of careening around the field of the former president.
Folks, what he's describing is a vacuum. Let me give you the glossary to Democrat euphemisms. She's laid out a broad vision. She has a broad vision, meaning she said absolutely nothing specifically on any issue that actually matters. So what happens? Voters fill in the blanks. Trump is not a vacuum. You don't have to like him, but a lot of people remember times being a lot better in the Trump administration. That's why she is in a world of electoral pain right now. If we execute and you go out and bring 10 people with you, I see very little chance she pulls through. How bad does it have to be? Did you see this clip on CBS? If this doesn't open your eyes, I don't know what will. Don't tell me signs don't matter. I ran for office. If you go back and listen to my pre-election episode in 2016, I think it's only on SoundCloud or maybe Apple or something. I don't even know if it's still there. I predicted Donald Trump winning. It's not because I'm some genius or the Stygian witches. Folks, I was in Florida. I was running for office. There were Trump signs everywhere, folks. Everywhere. This stuff matters. It shows a level of grassroots support. Here's a CBS commentator having to acknowledge they drove through this area. It was all Trump signs. Check this out.
When we drove through those cornfields, just about every line had a Trump sign.
Yeah.
Flags everywhere, billboards everywhere, Trump campaign offices almost on every other block.
Folks, this is CBS Mornings, man. You see how all of this other stuff is AstroTurf? Look at his favorability thing you see with Kamala Harris. This was an MSNBC thing. Kamala Harris's favorability, 28% on January of 2024. The lowest number ever recorded for a vice presidential candidate. Absolutely nothing has changed. She is the same radical, failed, incompetent, no leadership skills having loser she's always been. And all of a sudden, what? Her approval rate is 48%. One, I don't believe it. I don't believe that number at all. But second, it shows you as this is starting to collapse now, which it is, as the polls are starting to reflect it, that was all media AstroTurf. Sooner or later, Harris has to give them something. You know, they put out a skeleton out there. Kamala Harris is great. She's not the shitty candidate we told you about. She has to go put skin and muscle on it. And she couldn't do it. She totally failed. Yeah, our favorability rating, even, the first time it was lower than it is now. Folks, people can feel when you're in a vacuum and you don't put skin and muscle on the bone, okay? People feel it. They will fill the vacuum. They can feel the economy. They can see the crime crisis. They can see the immigration crisis. I'm playing you left-wingers to show you how awful this thing is for her. Here's Jamie Dimon. Remember when he said this here? Here's Jamie Dimon. This guy is no conservative. Big bank CEO cat, right? He's talking on CNBC. And he brings up the point that his liberal friends in New York City are starting to really get pissed off about the immigration crisis. These are the people who I promise you may not vote for Trump, but I don't think they're going to vote for Harris. They may sit this one out. And I'm going to explain to you my -1, 0, +1, +2 theory of voting in a second. Because if you don't understand this, you don't understand voting. Check this out.
If you do not control the borders, you are going to destroy our country. And so I think the people who think that somehow this is okay, so now they're sending the migrants into New York and stuff like that. So all of my super liberal friends, now they realize what a problem is. Did it have to be that? That we realize it. So we want to have a big heart for the world, but we have to control.
I get a lot of this. This is here. I'm getting this. I read you guys on Twitter too. Why is Dan Bongino saying the lie of Iran wanting to kill Trump? I'm telling you right now, I get tons of these, folks. I wouldn't read you the feedback on the air if it wasn't important. I'm telling you right now, you are being played so badly by people with an agenda. I don't even want to say what it is. You figure it out. You're being played for suckers. You think Trump is, if you think Donald Trump is stupid and he put that tweet out yesterday and the team around him is stupid, then don't vote for him and you'll let him get killed. I want you to read this again. So the former Secret Service guy who's been right about everything, collusion, Spygate, the Ukraine scandal, read my book about Ukraine, who has called out the Ukrainian role in election interference, is telling you with direct knowledge, the fucking Iran threat is real. Trump is telling you, and you're telling me it's a lie. I know what's coming next. The Jews made it up or something. You stick with that. And I promise you, when something else happens, you're going to be like, maybe we should have listened to Bongino. I wouldn't bring it up if I didn't get... Whatever. Moving on. I can only lead you to what you don't want to drink it. You want to piss in it instead? Go right ahead. What skin could I possibly have in this game to make that up? You realize the people telling me this could potentially be killed themselves by this, that they may have whatever. I'm just pissed off. Shit annoys that. Doing it, I love doing my show, but I can't help. I can't fix some of this stuff. There are people who are just convinced that they know better. And I say, okay, what evidence do you have? Well, show me a shred of evidence that this Iranian thing is a fake. It's made up. Show me your evidence. Your actual evidence, not what you think. All right, getting back to what I was talking about. I'm sorry, but I care about this guy, folks, personally. And I care about the people around him and his family. And I know a lot of these people personally. Someone is going to die. It's not time to fuck around and play stupid fucking games and say dumbass shit, because I'm telling you, the guy is going to get fucking killed. How many times do I have to call it? These are our own people. These are our own people out there. Yeah. Stuff gets me distracted, man. I've got the dog here. That's the good news. Lucy came over. Lucy, come say hello. Say hello to everyone. Lucy's just chilling over here. Maybe we'll do a Lucy moment. Bring Lucy over. Have Lucy say hello so I can calm down here, because I just can't do it. Look at it. Say hello to Lucy, say hello. There you go. Look at it. There, taking Gee's spot. Gee's out here. He's over at the new studio. What do you think, folks in the chat? You like Lucy there? Lucy, yeah. Well, Lucy's waving to the camera. All right, I did want to explain this too, because this is why I think the Kamala Harris team is in a world of trouble. If I ever explain to you my -1, 0, +1, +2 voting strategy, folks, voting is not a strict +1, -1 game. That's not the way you like that. People putting Mutleys up. Is that like the new dog emoji? The reason Donald Trump's campaign is doing really well right now and Kamala Harris isn't is because, unlike the prior campaigns, there are constituencies that have voted for Democrats in 2016 or 2020. Hispanic voters, black voters. I hate demographic breakdowns, but the Democrats fall in love with this stuff, so we got to play the game too. They have voted for the other side. They are not reluctant voters, voters who didn't do anything. They're not when I say a zero, I'm not talking about obviously measuring their characteristics. I'm talking about a strict math equation. When you get a voter who had voted Democrat in the past and you flip them, folks, they're a +2 because they take away a vote from someone in the past on the Democrat side and give you one. It's a move of 2 spots. It's a move from -1 to 0 to +1. The Trump team is not only doing that by recruiting a bunch of black and Hispanic voters. The Trump team is also taking a bunch of zeros. I mean, zeros vote-wise, vote count. Again, don't use that as some kind of character analysis. People who've never voted in the past, who now for the first time are like, you know what, I really like Donald Trump, but would never consider voting Republican, and they're voting too. It's a huge deal, man. The +2 is the greatest thing you can do because you move someone away from the Democrats and into your column. I want to jump ahead. Can you put the Sandra Smith thing on with Kelly Hyman instead? I want to get to that because I want to get to some good stuff here. I want you to watch what happens here. This is why a lot of people, Hispanic voters, black male voters, black female voters, are moving away from Kamala Harris and are moving towards Donald Trump. This is a +2 move. It's not just a +1. It's huge. It's why it's causing her a lot of problems in Pennsylvania, especially with the Philadelphia vote and elsewhere. Here's this woman, Kelly Hyman, on Fox, in probably one of the most disastrous appearances you'll ever hear. Sandra Smith is not some big MAGA person. She's not looking to make any. I've known Sandra Smith for a while. Trust me, she considers herself more of a journalist. She's not so much an opinion person. She doesn't really have any dog in the fight with making you look stupid on the show or you'll never come back. She has this Harris surrogate, Kelly Hyman, on the show, right? I have never seen an appearance go worse than this in my life. This is what happens when you create a vacuum on policy and you're asked to go on the air and defend it. Folks, people see this stuff. This is why the woman's campaign is falling apart. Check this out.
Harris's plan. We're waiting.
Yeah, okay, there's a lot of aspects to it in regards to looking at it online. So let's talk about lowering the grocery costs because that's something that's brought up. The viewers can look at this online. She talks about certain things in regards to advancing the first federal ban on price gouging on food and groceries, to set clear rules to the road to make it clear that big corporations can't unfairly exploit consumers as well.
Is that
and
happening?
secure new
Is that happening?
It's not at this moment. No, this is her plan that's laid out for the first 100 days when she becomes president of the United States of America.
Gouging, is that currently happening?
In regards to I don't know exactly if that's currently happening or not because I'm not privy to that type of information. Okay. But there are people are costing a lot of money in regards to groceries.
Okay. It seems like you're having a hard time articulating her plan. And
honestly, that's not true. Please, I'm constantly being interrupted by you, which as a woman, I think is disrespectful. When I'm trying to speak, every time I try and speak, you speak over me.
Okay. Final thought.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. I was giving you time there. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate you joining.
So she gives her a final thought to articulate Kamala Harris's bold vision for the economy moving forward. Broad vision, too. And what does she say? Oh, hey, thanks for having me. I'm out of here. This is what happens when you create a vacuum. People fill it in. Folks, this woman is a disaster. Now, I'm going to make a prediction. I had Jim flag it yesterday. We could double flag it if you'd like. And folks, I said this, I'm pretty sure, before this happened yesterday. I did. Thank you, flags in the chat. I did not know about this appearance. I promise you, I'm not trying to sound like some kind of Karnak from the Johnny Carson show. But what happens in elections, if you've ever run in them, is if you know you can't win in a straight up convert the independents fight, right? You have to go back to your base and make it a mega base election. You have to just say, okay, I give up. I have tried with my broad vision for the economy to convert independents. It's not happening. We have now got to get our base to come out and get the zeros off the bench. Remember what I was talking about before? In other words, people who are registered Democrats, i.e. our base, we got to get them off the bench because Kamala Harris knows she's not going to get a +2. Kamala Harris, I promise you, is getting no Trump supporters to unvote Trump and revote her, the +2s. It's not happening. She's given up on this. So the only way to get the zeros off the bench to get a +1 is a mega base election. And the only way to do a mega base election is to start saying stuff that is increasingly radical and will appeal to the fringe on the left wing that may still be sitting on the bench. I said that yesterday, Jim. You remember it? I told you to flag it. I get off the air. I'm doing show prep. This article pops at the Wall Street Journal. Kamala Harris now wants to dump the filibuster. Folks, if Kamala Harris gets in office, Chuck Schumer is the Senate Majority Leader, and Hakeem Jeffries is the Speaker of the House, the Democrats have now told you the Senate filibuster is out the window. Schumer says he has the votes. If the filibuster goes out the window, every single thing that you can envision that would bring about a U.S. dystopia, illegals registering to vote, card check, confiscatory taxes, unrealized gains taxes, government control of health care, shitty Medicaid plans for everyone. All of that stuff is going to happen because there's going to be a 51 vote threshold. Kamala Harris saying yesterday on a public radio station, I believe in Wisconsin, that she's going to dump the filibuster is prima facie evidence of exactly what I told you. She knows right now this is a mega base election. She has given up. The vacuum approach has not worked. The economy vacuum approach hasn't worked. So now she's going to start saying increasingly radical stuff. Also, the weaponization of government. You are going to hear more stuff like this. This is Hillary Clinton. How do you feel if we lose about being deprogrammed? Oh, she didn't say that. Really? Listen yourself.
So many of those extremists, those MAGA extremists, take their marching orders from Donald Trump, who has no credibility left by any measure. He's only in it for himself. He's now defending himself in civil actions and criminal actions. And when do they break with him? Because at some point, maybe there needs to be a formal deprogramming of the cult members, but something needs to happen.
So we've had Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris just in the last couple of days. We've replayed clips of them talking about deprogramming, Hillary Clinton talking about putting these MAGA people in jail, talk about dumping the filibuster. Folks, the nightmare is not coming. The nightmare is here. You have a chance if you execute and bring 10 people with you to the polls. You have a chance to turn this train around. I'm begging you as your friend, and I'm sorry I got distracted before about stuff. I think you can tell I'm pretty passionate about this. There's a lot of stuff to get to, and I should just stay on target. I don't mean to waste your time, but I hope you guys understand. You guys are with me every day. I'm just a guy. I don't have superpowers. I get distracted, but this is too important of a time to say the same thing 2 or 3 times, and that's on me. It's totally on me. I made my point. I should have just moved on because this is way too important of an election to keep screwing around, man. It is time to execute and bring 10 people with you. How do you feel about more of this? FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr seems like a pretty good guy. I've read some of his op-eds. He was on Glenn Beck's show talking about this disaster, which I'm going to get to now and on the radio today, too. George Soros is talking about buying, or actually has engaged in this agreement to buy a bunch of radio stations from Odyssey around the country. Here's the FCC commissioner. They look at this kind of stuff from a bureaucracy lens at the United States government. He's asked a pretty simple question. Why do you think a big left-wing mega donor like George Soros would buy all these stations right before an election? You think it's for some benevolent business purpose? Listen to the answer. It's pretty telling.
We're told everywhere that radio is a dying medium. Why would George Soros want to invest this kind of money. What did he say in his request?
It's a good question. I mean, look, I don't know a lot of billionaires right now that with all of the options for where they're going to place their money, they're sitting around saying, you know what really kicks off a lot of cash right now are local radio stations. Maybe, but if anything, we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing a flight of capital from local broadcasting because it's so challenged right now with competition from social media companies and over-the-top providers. So maybe there's a business case there that they're smart enough to see that everyone else doesn't see, but that's really not the direction of the capital we're seeing right now.
Folks, he's basically saying that there's not a whole bunch of people investing in specific mediums as a capital enhancing thing. In other words, it's probably a political reason.